All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are back with another one. It is the Authority Project. We got a special edition today with my good friend Alan Thomas, and he is here. He says there is a reason why we should rethink dieting. He says it's always good to do that. Is that right, Alan?
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm excited to go through this. It's a little different kind of thing we're doing today, but I believe this is going to be helpful for so many people who watch this today. And without further ado, let's get to that intro. Here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, we're back with another one, folks. It's the Authority Project. I am your host, Brian S. Arnold here, and you are the project. We want to slap authority to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And we have, like I said, a special edition today. My good friend Alan Thomas in the house, in the virtual stage. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing well. Doing well. Love that intro too, man. That's always said. Never get tired of that. It sounds good. It's fantastic.
Awesome, awesome. So we're gonna dive into it because we have a lot to talk about, and I really want to get into everything. But before we start, Alan, can you please tell us who you are personally and then professionally?
Absolutely. Yeah, I am. I'm a father of four. Just took my youngest to her second year of college, and I've got three boys and a daughter. A wife I married way up, a wife of 35 years, and it's hard to believe she's only 29 when I've been married to her 35 years, but she looks good. And my wife is Angie, and today I unleash human potential through weight loss, and I do that without a diet or exercise plan. Because if a diet were the answer, we'd all be 32-inch waist and six-pack abs and perfect size. So
Yeah, I like how that
that is
sounds
the story.
already. Yes, yes, I like how that sounds already. Okay, so this is we asked this about all of it's the one that are two compulsory type of questions. So
Mhm.
let me see what this is for you. What is your daily routine?
Daily routine is on a personal side. It's mindset first. First thing is mindset in the morning, very early, usually around 5 a.m., and spend some time in meditation and prayer, and then listen to something positive. And then my wife and I, we live on Amelia Island, Florida, which is just north of Jacksonville for the people who don't have never heard of Amelia Island. And we're about a mile from the beach. We cycle to the beach, and our island's only 2 miles wide, and we usually go to the beach. We go downtown. It's a little historic area, and get our exercise in, and then before I hit my day, and I can roll through that, and I work with men and women that struggle with either overweight or obesity, and we do that through a group and an individual coaching platform, and I'm on that from ding to dong because that's my passion.
Great stuff. So I love this already. It sounds beautiful. So let's dive into it. Let's dive into this topic. Rethinking diet why rethinking dieting is always good. Why is that the case?
Well, I mean, a little bit about my background where I got here. For decades, I struggled with my weight. I struggled with obesity and overweight. Yo-yo dieting up and down. Did you name a diet? I've done it. You name an exercise program, I've done it, and I would always end up 5 pounds heavier, 10 pounds heavier, and just going up and up. And then in 2017, at age 55, when I stepped on the scale and saw 304 pounds flashing on the scale underneath my feet. It just jolted me. And that led me to go on a 260-day journey that where I escaped obesity. And really what drove me to all of that was the fact that it was never about the diet. I always knew what to do. I mean, it's like people ask me all the time, well, what should I eat? And it's like one of my clients, he asked me that recently. Well, I say recently, when we first started, it was about 9 months ago. He said, what should I eat? I'm 432 pounds. And I said, well, what would you eat if your wife and 2 daughters' life was on the line and you had to lose 1 pound in the next week? Now, this guy had never been on a diet in his life, not one, which really challenged my process because I believe everybody knows what to eat. And he proved that it was right. He said to me, it was the funniest thing. He said to me, I guess I could eat less, Alan. I said, that'd be a start. And 90 pounds later, and he's still dropping. It always proves that the weight loss is always a battle between the ears. It's never a battle with a fork. You have to change what you're eating 100%. Does some exercise help? It's absolutely beneficial. But at the end of the day, it's a battle for the mind. And it's in what's crazy is we think it only impacts our health. And I love, when you're dealing with business people, digital marketers, your audience, you're wanting authority. You tell me the individual who visibly has an extra 50, 100, 150, 200 pounds on them, who's speaking and wanting to speak with authority and leadership, are you going to listen to them more? Or are you going to listen to the person who's got their weight under control? Because you don't have to have a scale out. I mean, it's right. Well, and there's 2 reasons for that. Number one is it's on the outside, people looking, they see it, so they immediately know there's a discipline issue there. And then, but on the other side, which is the bigger side of it, anybody like I struggle with obesity. When I struggle with obesity, I never would go all in with somebody in a sales situation. I was in insurance sales for decades. And so you always have this kind of, creature on your back that you're always worried that somebody's, well, what are they thinking about me? And you can be confident and you can be outgoing, you can be joking. I was all of that. But I always had this thing in my mind that was always weighing me down mentally, not just physically. It was weighing me down was, why are they going to listen to me when my failure is obvious? That makes sense. And that was really the question that drove me to lose my weight and drove me to really rethink dieting, the process that I developed on my personal journey. It was always the other things that mattered so much that really were, that I just pushed aside and said, that doesn't matter, but it cost me in so many different ways. It's not even funny.
So I think that was important what you just said. Like, you have the validation, not only that you've done it, that you're maintaining it. Mm-hmm. So that's a big difference. Where did you ever go through the roller coaster of up and down?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, everybody does. I mean, in that, before I went through this literally rethinking process that I did, it was always, lose 50, gain 55, lose 20, gain 30. But this is the thing too. See, weight, while we all think it's just health oriented, and the health is certainly important. If you don't have health, you have nothing. I mean, ask anybody in the graveyard. They're very difficult being a successful entrepreneur in the graveyard. So that's, but when you step back and give it kind of a 30,000 foot perspective, it's a success principle. You have to have deposits of success in, whether you're talking about your business for entrepreneur. I mean, if they all of a sudden stop marketing, what happens to their business over time? It's going to go down. Right. I mean, if you all of a sudden stop, if you're in a marriage, like when I got married 35 years ago, I was a very young man when I got married. And I just thought when I was married, we were done dating. Well, I learned real quickly that I had to make deposits of success in my relationship with my wife, or that relationship would go away. And so with our weight, we want this magic pill. We want this magic pill that doesn't exist. Just it's kind of like going to play the lottery. You know, the lotteries, hey, love it or hate it, it's a fun thing to do. But there's people who play the lottery thinking that that's a retirement plan. That's a pretty tough retirement plan. And so weight loss has to be a success principle that you work on every day at some level. And I'm not talking about depriving yourself. You know, one of my clients, when he started with me, he said, you know, I have a process I take people through. And first week in with me, I think he was down about 5 pounds, and he came to the call, our one-to-one call. He said, Alan, you know what I had for breakfast this morning? I said, what's that? He said, apple pie. I said, that's awesome, man. Good for you. He said, I just figured it out. I figured out how I could have that. And now he gave up something on the other end. It's a little bit like if I were to say, Brian, I'm going to hand you $20,000. You can keep any amount of it you want, but you've got to take your family on a vacation.
Yeah.
You could choose. You could spend all 20, or you could keep part of it. And that's a process that this guy learned. And he told. In fact, it was interesting. He said, "You have the guiltless weight loss plan." I said, "It's because all food's good. There's nothing wrong with ice cream. It's just you can't have it every day, or every meal."
Right.
But at any rate.
I like how you said that, because I think that a lot of people, when they're trying to change, there's this stigma of it being hard, frustrating, you know, and like this long thing that, you know, it feels impossible to do and not fun. So all those things it's just not fun, you know. So do you make sure that your clients put the fun into this thing, that this is a fun thing to do as far as the journey, or are you real with them saying that there is going to be some hard times when you go through this?
Well, it's like anything else. Is business fun?
Not all the time.
well, sometimes it's a blast. I mean, it's a blast. It's good times. The point is there's a season for everything, and you know, I don't. For example, when I'm working with a client, I want them to see that they're having success that they don't know about. The trick to it all is staying the course, go the distance. Just like with business, you know, for example, if all you had to do was deal with unruly customers all the time, it would make being in business very, very unfun, very not fun, very, you know, like dread it like the plague. But it's part of that. Sometimes you're going to deal with that. I had a retail clothing business for 17 years and sold that back in 2004. But there's other times where it's a blast. So the point that it's seasonal, but when I say seasonal, I mean there's always going to be different things. It's like you cannot eat like Thanksgiving dinner every meal and lose weight. It just doesn't work. Right. But at the end of the day, you can figure out, and this is what I encourage my clients to do, is to become an expert on themselves. Because, you know, I have clients who do keto. I have some that do intermittent fasting. I have some that do Weight Watchers. I have some that do paleo. I have some do Mediterranean diet. I have some that do vegan. And I'm going on and on. But they find what works for them. I know I'm thinking of one of my clients who's lost. He just went over 20 pounds in about 23 days. He's 70 years old. He's on a walker. Okay, now he can't exercise. And people tell me all the time that, number one, a 70-year-old can't lose weight. Absolutely untrue. A second thing is you can't lose weight without exercise. Absolutely untrue also. Now, is exercise beneficial? Sure it is. But is it mandatory? No. And he's dialing it in and he's figuring out. And one of the things that I think is so funny is he says, I can't believe that I'm doing this. I can't believe my weight's fallen off of me like this. I said, well, it was always possible. You just would never give it enough time, and you were focusing on the wrong things. And just like I did. And I get asked by my clients all the time, how did you know this would work? I said, because I lived it. I failed at it for 30 years. Right, so I hope that answers your question. I just rambled.
I love all that. So you did a lot of those things because you know, there's the usual thing from way back when it says eat right and exercise. Do you think that people should still exercise, or like you said, you just said it doesn't matter? Do you
Well,
think that's
I think it's like when I went in, when my doctor, who's a really good doctor, and he had told me I needed to lose weight for, better than 10 years that I'd been going to him, but he didn't understand how. He knew the science of it, but he didn't understand the mental part of it. And I went in, I had a routine checkup scheduled, and I was down about I think about 60 or 70 of the over 100 pounds that I lost on my journey. And he says, and he was congratulating me. He said, well, how are you doing? He said, first thing he asked me was, he said, what are you doing for exercise? And I said, well, doctor, now he lives 3 blocks from me. I said, doctor, I said, you see me on my bicycle, which is what I enjoy. I love riding my bike. It's fun. And I said, you see me on my bicycle. I know you do. I said, but let me ask you a question. I said, what do you think exercise has to do with weight loss? And he did this. He held up a 0 with his hand, which shocked me, really. Now, this is a physician. This is an MD. He said 0. He said, there's people losing weight in the hospital right now who aren't moving.
right?
Now, here's the thing. Is exercise benefit? Absolutely. But you'll never outrun your fork and spoon. It's faster than any exercise you'll ever do. So what I encourage my clients to do is what they can do. For example, the one that I mentioned to you that had never been on diet, when he became a client, he was in a wheelchair, and I didn't know this. I had no idea. I met him over the telephone.
Okay.
He enrolled, so I didn't know this, and he wasn't wheelchair bound, but he couldn't walk more than about 8 or 9, 10 steps without a wheelchair. So now he's walking 4 to 8 miles a day. I never told him to do that, but he says, I believe it'll work for me, and he feels better. The other day, he was on a bicycle for the first time with his daughter. He videoed it. It was amazing.
Wow.
And so I asked him, I said, what did your daughter say? And he said something like, she just smiled.
Wow.
And so is exercise good? Yeah. But I tell people all the time, I'm not a doctor or nutritionist or dietitian or physical fitness expert. I just somebody that failed miserably. And this wilderness of obesity, I found a way out, and I know a path. That was really it. And so when people ask me, should I exercise? Well, do you like to exercise? Well, so I'd love to be. I said, then let's start working in that direction. But you don't have to do crazy. You just don't have to. But let me ask you this, Brian. Do you exercise ever?
Yes.
Do you feel better after you exercise?
I do.
Do you exercise?
But I don't do it. I don't do it regularly.
But you feel better when you do it, right?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So is exercise beneficial?
Yes.
Okay. You see, you just figured out that exercise is good. I bet you go exercise tomorrow.
Now I can eat better. I can tell you right now. I do eat. My thing is I drink too many sugary things.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you, what's the most you've ever weighed in your life?
Maybe like 175.
Okay, so let's suppose you woke up one morning and you weighed 250 because of all the things you've been eating wrong.
Yeah.
Would you accept that?
No.
You see that? Yeah. See the difference? See the difference?
Yeah.
If you woke up and you were 180, would you accept that?
180 is maybe not. 170. I like
what if you were 200?
Yeah,
would you accept that?
Yeah.
You see my point.
If it's in muscle, yeah. But I don't want to in my core. That's my problem area right now. My core.
The point I make is life gives you what you'll tolerate.
Yeah.
Whether it's and I say this to business owners, it's the same thing. If you'll tolerate the level you're at in your business, then that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want more, you're going to have to fight for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So tell us why diets. Do you think diets are bad, or do you think it's how we represent diets to be an overall cure-all?
That's such a great question, and not many people ever ask me that. And I think it's really a great question. I think diets are neutral. I think diets are a tool. I think diets are a way to eat that allows an individual to either gain or lose weight. So I'll ask you a question. So I heard one of my coaches said this, who's not a weight loss coach, is a mindset coach that I have. He made the comment. He said a diet of grilled chicken, fish, and vegetables, or a diet that's 10,000 calories that you eat late in the day and before you go to sleep, like in the last 4 hours a day, which one is better?
I think they both could be good.
Yeah, that's unusual. Most people don't get that. You're right, because the 10,000 calorie eating late in the day is what a sumo wrestler eats. If you want to be a sumo wrestler, you've got to build up bulk, and so it depends on your goal. Does that make sense? So the diet's simply a tool. It's not the be all end all, and we look for these magical diets that are going to make us perfect, and the diet is never going to be the issue. It's never going to be the thing that solves the problem. The problem is between the ears.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, most people who struggle with weight gain 5, 6, 7 pounds every year.
Yeah.
They gain a little bit at long, and it's sort of like if you want to cook a frog, you start the water at tepid and just heat it up before it boils them, and we end up going up 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds a year, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds a year, and before you know it, 10 years have gone by and you've gained 50 to 80 pounds, and then and then it becomes an issue, and then you're like, gosh, I've got a birthday coming up. I've got my wife's anniversary. It's Valentine's Day coming up. I've got Easter. I've got Christmas. I've got whatever date. And so I can't lose weight because I have to do those things. Well, that's just crazy. That's not true. It's a choice. And so when people look at diets and the whole process that we go through, we want to put it in a box, and you can't. You've got to figure out what works for you. And if you spend the time understanding what works for you and what's important to you. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Tell us about the transformation. Tell us about, I know you gone through some things already in this talk we have here, but tell us about what happens when the weight is off. What happens to someone's mindset as far as what they can do, and what, do they feel like, now I can change anything now? Is that the mindset that people go through? Tell us about your experience and others.
Yeah, I mean, when you're carrying an extra 50 or 100 or whatever, it depends on the height too. I mean, it depends on the individual. I mean, one individual who carries 30 at 5'3", extra 30 could be, equally. Somebody 6'6" is going to have a much different amount. So the amount is inconsequential. Whatever that amount is that makes them feel like they are overweight and and have some shame around it, is going to, when those pounds start coming off, even before they're all the way off, first thing they do is they feel like they can do something differently. I know one of my clients who, when he started with me, I said, "What do you, on a scale of 1 to 100, what do you think your likelihood of achieving your 126-pound weight loss is?" He said, maybe 50-50. I said, "Well, mine's 100% on you." And I said, "So I'll make up the difference." Now he's down 80 pounds since February, and so now he's 100%. But it's not just there; it's affecting him at work because he's now more confident. All of a sudden, he's got confidence he didn't have. So that's a transformation there. He's also a dancer. He's a competition dancer, seriously, and he's a technology guy during the day. So he's got more confidence in that competition dancing. There's all these other areas that starts to impact, that changes, because it's not just the change. It's when we're afraid to take our shirt off at the beach. We're afraid to take that. That's going to stop us from spending time with our kids. It's going to stop us from working on our business a certain way. I mean, our good friend Matt McWilliams, who's a client of mine, Matt had an incredible story. He gained 30 pounds of muscle and lost 93 pounds of fat, and he's having the biggest year of his life business-wise. And one of the things he told me, he said, "Alan, he said the 290-pound version of me would have never done this." And it's powerful on a business side, but it affects, you name a part of your life that, and I'll tell you how weight impacts it, because it impacts everything. Because when I was over 300 pounds, there's no way I was hitting my income potential there. There's no way I'd gotten on a video like this with you. I would have said, oh, heck no, let's do it without video. And because I was too ashamed to. Now I've been told I have a face for radio, but the point is, I'm not worried about the weight anymore. So, but that transformation that takes place, you have to become whatever you are, wherever you decide your ideal weight is. And I never tell people what their ideal weight should be. I mean, I think they need to consult a physician for that. I think they need to look at where they feel best. I mean, some people don't want to be really thin. Some people, want to be very thin. It just depends on the individual. But decide that that's who you are, and you gained weight rather than the 250, 300 pound version that lost weight, because the power is in which direction you look at it from. It's no different than checking your thermostat in your home. I mean, if it gets over the high 70s in my house, man, I am ready for that thing to cool off. And so you have to set your thermostat around your mindset with your weight the same way, because it will impact you way beyond. It impacts people's income. I actually did a video on this recently. The 49 states in the United States, it is legal to discriminate based on obesity. 49 states. Michigan's the only one, unless this has changed. Now, there's not a company out there that will tell you they're not hiring you because you're obese. But if you pull hiring managers and HR directors aside and ask them who you're going to hire between somebody that's at a normal or close to normal weight, okay, or somebody that's carrying an extra 50 pounds. And if you don't think you're obese, just check the tables. Don't take my word for it. There's all kind of, most people think they're overweight or obese, but people who think they're obese are morbidly obese. Like I was morbidly obese. And so, but a hiring manager who sees somebody who's not near or at a normal weight is going to hire the one, if they've got the choice between an obese person and the person who is at a normal weight, they're going to pick the one that's normal weight because of a leadership quality and a discipline quality there that they believe, either whether it's on the surface or whatever. And I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men and women, and I asked them if they've ever felt like they have been discriminated on the job because of their weight, and it's almost without question 100%. It might not be 100, but it's close to 100%, because while they might not have been directly singled out, indirectly they see where Bob Johnson, and I'm just naming a name, is this guy named Bob. Right. He gets the promotion when they had more qualifications, or he gets the job, or he gets the sale, and so it happens all the time.
Awesome. This is awesome. We're about to wrap it up here. I know I have so many other questions, but we're going to wrap it up here. I have one last question I ask all of my guests here, the people who are watching you now and they're listening to you later. And can you tell them, really, because this is such a huge space, how can they become an authority if they want to help others, lose weight and get into the health, get more healthy? How did you, I guess part of your story is your story, but can you tell them how you still have to be the point where, how do I become an authority in this space? Do you have anything on that?
Well, yeah. I mean, really the biggest thing with it is to live it. I mean, if you're wanting people to follow you, you've really got to live it and be authentic to that yourself. I mean, nobody be listening to me. If I still weighed 304 pounds, nobody be listening to me about weight loss right now. And so I think from a leadership side, more is caught than thought. Then just be who you want to be. It goes for any area of life. I mean, if I'm going to be a great parent, then I need to be a great person. If I'm dishonest or cheat or lie or steal or one of those things, then that leads a bad example for my kids. And so that's leadership from a kid's side, but also in business too. I mean, when I had my clothing business for 17 years, the people who worked for me, they saw how we interacted with people, and they interacted the same way. So being authentic to that, that's how you become the greatest authority, is to do it. It is. And if you struggle personally, then find a way. I mean, there's a way. People losing weight every day. I'm not the only one that has the answer, but it's at the end of the day, it's got to be important. Does that make sense? I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Perfect, man. All right. So we're at the end of it here. Oh man, I tell you, I had so many other questions that I would love to have gone through, but we're gonna wrap it up here. So tell us, where they can go after the show. I know there's a special edition. We got some special things happening for us.
Yeah, you can find me at transformmyfuture.com, but I've prepared something for your audience, Brian, and if they will go to you post it very kindly, post up on the screen, transformmyfuture.com/BA for Brian Arnold, and I'm going to be doing a private training where I talk about the 5-step strategy that I personally use to lose 129 pounds in 260 days, and how I teach my clients to do the same thing. And it's a real training. It's not fluff. It's totally free. There's nothing sold on the training. Don't worry. I talked to Brian beforehand. He's agreed to be there. So he'll keep me straight. He'll make sure I'm still authority on it. But if they'll go, they can register there because there's only 100 seats available. Okay. So if they'll register, they'll get a link after they register, and they can join the training. If somebody's listening to this, say a year from now, that particular training is going to be live August 26th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's August 26th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Eastern. But for somebody who's hearing this later, we're gonna record that. So don't worry. If you're listening to this a year from now, or 6 weeks from now, or just the day of, and you got busy, there's going to be a recording of the training. And so that training will be made available. So they'll go the exact same link. I'll keep that link live from here on forward, transformmyfuture.com/BA. And you'll get access to that training. It's completely free. And it really is. It really is the formula. And I was talking to somebody today that reached out to me, and he said, and I'm not saying this to, he said, Alan, I've never heard anybody communicate it like that, because I just tell you the truth. I tell you really what happens, really what was the secret for me. And it's something I don't hold back. Doctor or dietitian or nutritionist or but I know what it's like to be overweight. And I really have a passion to see the trajectory of obesity.
Yeah, I think we're losing you there. I think we're losing you. Oh, we're going so good. Hold on. I think I'm sure he'll get back here to us. Let me see.
Brian, I don't know what happened. Everything froze. So.
We're good, but we got the gist of it though.
Okay, good.
This is going to be a great training. Okay, I don't know what you've been doing up until now, but I know that if you're at all concerned or at all have an issue with your weight, this is something that you need to go to. And like you said, it's no obligations. It's just free stuff. Free content that you can use, right then and there, and just think it through, rethink what you're doing and decide on that. We would love to have you there.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me so much, Brian. This has been a blast.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so great to have you. Honored to have you on here. And I'm going to say my little catchphrase at the end here. It goes like this, and you guys know it. Build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. We're out of here. Peace.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.